Notes from around the NBA now that both Rick Carlisle and Donnie Nelson are out in Dallas. Luka Doncic's future with the Mavs has started to come into question. Interesting timing as he is eligible now to sign a Supermax extension this summer. And according to The Athletic, Zion Williamson and his family are not happy with how things have been going in New Orleans. Next season, Zion will be playing for his fourth coach in a 4-year span since he graduated from high school. And Devin Booker and the Suns are going to send the fan involved in an altercation with Nuggets fans in Denver a signed Booker jersey and provide him with tickets to a conference finals game. I want to get into a fight at the game.
Yeah.
I want to get some free stuff.
Rewarded for that.
Okay, now with Kawhi Leonard out indefinitely, Playoff P took it to the next level in Wednesday's Game 5 against the Jazz, leading his team to take the series lead 3-2. He delivered a superstar performance, 37 points, a playoff career high, 16 rebounds, and 5 assists. Tonight, he must do it again. Okay, before we get into it, Donovan Mitchell, he is listed as questionable for tonight's game, but let's focus on Paul George right now. Han, we'll start with you here. What would a series win for Paul George's legacy?
It wouldn't really, it's getting out of the second round is not a legacy thing for Paul George because he's done it before. In fact, twice before when he was the main guy with the Indiana Pacers. Played the Heatles, the Miami Heat with LeBron and Wade and Chris Bosh in back-to-back years in 13 and 14, and they took him in 6 games and won 7 in the other. They got to conference finals, so he's been there already. I don't know how this really serves his legacy. What it would, though, to me, is sort of put an end, not necessarily because it's really funny, the whole playoff P or playoff L, depending on how he does in the postseason. Maybe it does impact that, where we stop having fun with that and start taking him seriously. And like we did early in his career, before the injuries and everything else, where we looked at him as a budding superstar with the Pacers. He's since bounced around a little bit, since been through some stuff. We know last year in the bubble, he was going through some things, mental health he was talking about, just being depressed because he was in the bubble. Well, here he's in a situation now where he was supposed to be the 1B. And now 1A, Kawhi Leonard, is out. And what he showed us when he can be the 1A is he can still be that guy. And he had a huge performance. Now he's on the verge of trying to win the series against a Utah team that is going to be all focused on him. It would just, to me, bring us back to remembering that PG-13, yeah, he's still that guy. And he can certainly do it. But legacy? No. If we're going to talk about legacy with him, he's got to get to a finals and maybe get a ring on the finger.
I think it's huge. It changes the entire narrative about the way that you have thought recently about Paul George. I think when you, especially in Los Angeles, remember, he wanted this. He wanted to come to L.A. They gave up a handsome ransom at the request of Kawhi Leonard to go get Paul George. He was supposed to be the 1B, like you mentioned. Now he's the 1A. We've seen him in the past, no question, in Indy take the team to the Eastern Conference Final. But not under this stress. Not under the pressures of Los Angeles. Not under the pressures of failing in the bubble. After they assembled a team and a coach that was fired based on the request of a couple star players, allegedly, I don't want to mention any names, but Doc Rivers is no longer there. They asked for Ty Lue to be the head coach. So all this weight at Staples Center is on the back of Paul George. You had an amazing game in Utah. Now you go to L.A., and tonight everybody's looking for you to end it, to take the Clippers further than they've ever been in the history of that organization. So it is going to say a lot for his legacy.
The cardboard cutout's going to be gone because I heard they're going full capacity now. They finally can get all the people in the building, and that's going to be important, I think, for them as a group. But you know, I mean, you just told me yesterday that the Clippers, not really L.A. That's not really L.A. The Lakers are L.A.
They got their own L.A. fans.
What pressure, though?
They're L.A. Clipper fans.
Yeah.
They're L.A. Clipper fans, though.
Okay.
Just that little.
You mean they're a small market team playing in a big market? Is that
very small market team?
Okay, so what pressure are we talking about?
The pressure of the Clipper fan base, whatever 2,000 they got.
Clipper Darrell and a couple of friends?
Clipper Darrell and a couple of friends. That is pressure, though. It's not the Los Angeles Laker pressure, but it's still pressure. They still are covered as a major team in Los Angeles. They're still covered all over the country because of the two guys that they have in Paul George along with Kawhi Leonard. So the eyeballs still are there to see what the Clippers are going to do.
How about this? Legacy, now Paul George. How about for Ty Lue? What does it mean for Ty Lue if he can coach this team to a finals?
Well, what I would say is it lifts, it's not pressure, but it lifts that stigma off of Ty Lue's back that The only reason he won is because of LBJ. Everybody looks at that as, oh, he just was there. LeBron really coaching the team.
Right.
It removes that. The adjustments that he made in Utah, the things that he's doing, drawing up defensively, offensively, getting people open, that's Ty Lue. That's not LeBron James. So if they go to a final, just go to a final.
Right.
They don't have to win it. Just go to a final.
It does a lot for Ty Lue. Really
It does a lot for Ty Lue. It takes that stench off of his back. Rightfully so.
And it should, yeah.
So in order to prove something, you need to get to the finals, not just the conference finals. Because
for Ty Lue and for Ty
Paul
Lue.
George too. Paul George.
Yeah, Paul George too, because I'm assuming Paul George is going to be by himself the rest of the way.
More than likely, we don't really have as much information as we'd like about Kawhi Leonard, but there have been rumors, and we won't get into those about the extent of his injury. But it doesn't look like he'll be back anytime soon. But George does join Kevin Durant. He's one of only 2 players this postseason to post a 35-15 in 5 games. So
got to do it again.
He can step it up tonight.
One more time.
Okay, real quick predictions on who's going to win.
Utah has to find a way to win this game. You are the number 1 seed.
That ain't what she asked you.
Yeah, okay, so you.
Yeah, I'm going with Utah. Okay. Yeah, I got to believe in them.
I hate to do it. I'm going to take the Clippers.
All right. We've got
note,
a
LA.
disagreement here.
Keyshawn,
they already know.
He is cheering for the Clippers
we still
tonight.
Have a lot more.
Lies.
From the Bucks, once again, Chris Middleton was the guy making the big shots. Chris Middleton was the one that made sure there would be no comeback on this night. He's your closer. Giannis is not a closer. Doesn't mean he's not a great player. Doesn't mean he's not a great talent. But he's an opener. That's what we're learning about him now. And does that make him more of a 1B than a 1A? Because the 1A is the guy with the ball in his hands late in the game, making sure the other team doesn't get the win on your home floor.
I don't think you take Chris Middleton and make him the 1A of that team. That team is Giannis' team. Giannis started out at bully ball and finished with bully ball. 30.17 boards. He may have not taken the shots down the line at the end of the game, those sort of things, but he certainly got everything going. He played his style of ball. Whenever he plays his style of ball and not sitting back shooting threes, this is what you get out of him. You get a team that, much like he said, he can get everybody else involved. But when he's settling on jump shots as a big, there's no way he's going to advance his team to a championship, period. That's why I like what he did. I went away from here yesterday, but better yet, on the show yesterday, then went away from it thinking, the way they win this game is for him to take advantage of the paint. And we clearly saw that. He got 17 boards. It was a typical sort of kind of Giannis game, but it was something different. He answered the call. He was criticized heavily after Game 5, not guarding KD in the end. Now, he didn't guard KD much. He switched off on him a lot in Game 6, but the fact that he was even involved and active in scoring points at the level that he did allowed people like Middleton to do what he did in the end.
Like, come on. Middleton was the one who made the bigger shots. He's the one who plays better at home.
But it doesn't happen.
What Chris Middleton has to do is have a big Game 7 on the road, which he has not played well on the road.
It doesn't happen. It starts with Giannis. If Giannis goes
I said
away,
that. It starts with Giannis,
well,
but it doesn't
that's why we
end with
gave him
Giannis.
the Supermax deal, to start with him. And if we need somebody else to close, so be it.
Yeah, but Dave Winfield was Mr. May, not Mr. October. Reggie Jackson was Mr. October. That's the difference, Burke.
Well, this is how I look at it, okay? One thing about Giannis is that I'm going to give him his props first, all right? He did a great job of attacking the basket, okay? Because every time he shoot a jump and he make one, it was the first time that I saw the opposing bench actually clapping and cheering for him. You know why? Because they wanted him to take more jumpers. And he didn't settle last night. He imposed his will. He got out in transition. He embraced the role of actually being a roll diver, actually attacking in transition. Great job by Budenholzer, spacing the floor, moving Giannis to the center position. But I will say this, what Giannis proved to me last night is that he's a certified Robin. And that's okay, because Chris Middleton is the Batman of that team. And he showed us that last night with the epic performance that he put on last night in a must-win situation. When it mattered the most, Chris Middleton was the one carrying the throne when Brooklyn was making that run, when they cut it into 2. The ball was in Chris Middleton's hands. So what Giannis showed me last night is that, hey, I could do this long as I don't have to be the guy, the go-to guy when it matters the most. I'm good first, second, and third quarter, but when it comes in the fourth, when it's time for the guys, when it's time for the buckets to get delivered, I don't want the ball. Give it to Chris Middleton and let him do him.
But is something wrong with that, though, Perk? Is something wrong with understanding my role when it comes to nut crunch time? Much like you said, what's your big saying? What's the big saying that you say? You are who you are, and he is who he is. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all.
Yeah. No, and Keith, look, check this out. Don't get so hostile, my brother. All I'm saying is nothing wrong with it. Listen, there's nothing wrong with it at all, okay? But at the end of the day, the question was, what did he prove to us last night? And all I said is that he proved that he's a certified Robin. It's nothing wrong with being Robin, because you obviously could have been other characters in the Batman movie, but you Robin, so that means you was the co-star. There's nothing wrong with it.
He's just the Joker right now.
No,
because
I'm glad he
Perk told me I won the argument.
Though.
That's all that matters.
I'm glad he answered the call from all the criticism. Now Game 7 comes up. They move from Milwaukee to Brooklyn. Can he answer the call again? Because after Game 5, as you know, Perk, people wanted his head. It's like, yo, dude, we gave you all this money. You're the two-time MVP, reigning defensive player, and you're not living up to the bill, but he did in Game 6.
Well, I'm going to say this. He answered the call offensively. I'm still waiting on the former defensive player of the year in him to answer the call, because he tried to trick us and tried to pick up James Harden last night with a pulled hamstring, and James Harden started torching him. So look, I'm still waiting on that. I'm still waiting on the defensive player of the year, first team all defense. I want to see that. I want to see Giannis sit down and guard somebody. I want to see Giannis actually have an impact on the defensive end. He has not shown that all series long. That's what I need to see out of Giannis.
That's how I feel. If you're not guarding him, like let's say Game 7, we're Saturday night, we're in the fourth quarter, we're in a tight game, right? And let's hope we are, because that'd be a lot of fun to see. And if that's going on and it's KD, you're Giannis, if you're not like waving off everybody else, I got this. I've got this guy now. These are the possessions that matter. If you're not doing that, then you should take those trophies off your shelf and give them back. Because that's how you earn those trophies. Yes, I know it's voted in the regular season, but that's what the whole league. Players are watching this saying the same damn thing. You know it, Perk. Players are watching those games wondering, why is Giannis guarding Landry Shamet? You need to be guarding Kevin Durant so your team can win a Game 7 and move on in the postseason.
I don't know about that one, man.
Right.
I got to have him on both ends of the floor. If I try to put him predominantly on KD, I lose that offensive energy that we need, because Chris Middleton can't win the game